Hello everyone, my name's Premal Patel. I'm the CEO of Healthy Minds Club UAE. And I'm delighted today to introduce the Wellbeing Majlis. This is my new podcast as part of the Healthy Minds Arabia magazine. What we'll be doing is bringing a whole host of our experts from the Healthy Minds Club to come and share their stories, their backgrounds, their expertise, and how what they do really helps create healthier minds in the UAE. So I'm here to welcome Rian to the Wellbeing Majlis podcast as part of Healthy Minds Arabia magazine. Welcome, Rian.
Thank you so much for having me, Prem.
Rian, you're one of the experts in Healthy Minds Club. One of the new experts that we've now got on board. So, you've got such an amazing story and you have such a great area of expertise. We're going to explore and unpick some of this today for the audience, and really want to understand your sort of views and opinions around sort of well-being and where the market is going. But first, tell us about you. Tell us, what's your story? What's your background? What's your story? And how have you got into the space of helping people improve their sort of healthier mind and well-being?
Well, yeah. So first of all, again, thank you for having me here. And thank you for the initiative of the Healthy Minds Club and Healthy Minds Arabia. I think it's going to make a big difference in the region here.
Appreciate that.
So I'm from South Africa, born and raised there.
Right.
And typical South African upbringing as an Afrikaans boy.
What is that typical upbringing?
So, Christian raised,
okay.
Very strong family bonds, very traditional. Don't go outside and explore other things.
Okay.
But I was always very inquisitive from a very young age. But I also always wanted to have some independence. So from a very early age, I was really pushing to do something on my own, to be independent. How quickly can I get out of the house? Not because I didn't like it there, but I wanted to build my own life.
But where did that drive come from? Just somewhere in deep?
Just within myself. I needed to make something of myself. So started working very early. And that put me into a management role in F&B quite early, at 18 years old. And then instead of wanting to...
So you're a manager at 18 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
And went from studying medicine to now in F&B and completely leaving a whole medical degree behind, which...
Hold on. You were studying medicine?
Not yet. Towards.
Oh, you were going towards medicine, a medical degree?
Everything in school was studying towards entering university for medical degree.
Wow, okay.
And then F&B got hold of me.
That's amazing. It hooks you in, huh?
Absolutely. Okay. I fell in love with people. And experiencing people in their honest openness. When you go to a restaurant with your family, you're just who you are. There's no walls up. You're with your family, so you can just relax. And that made me fall in love with people, and decided that I want to approach this career of just serving people and being hospitable to people and giving them great experiences.
Right.
And, that also at that young age, having a decent position, compared to my peers, gave me a lot of flexibility to explore other things in life. And during that growth period, I was always very interested in my spiritual well-being as well, and in exploring the spiritual aspects of our world.
And this is all in South Africa?
Yep.
Okay.
Met quite a few good mentors at an early age as well. And actually today, the 19th of Jan, 15 years ago, I had my first Reiki training.
There you go. Look, celebration.
Yes.
It's an anniversary. Excellent.
a nice benchmark here. So at that time, my journey changed into a deeper understanding of the psyche, of the healing of a person,
right? And
how we are formed by things that happen to us from an early age, and how those patterns in our mind affect how we react as adults. Now going into adulthood and starting to realize that my relationships with people are changing. I realized that there are things that we bury within ourselves that impact how we relate with people. So I was very lucky actually to at a very young age discover this. And from there, change my patterns very easily.
How do you, sorry to interject there, but just a quick question. So 15 years ago, you started your Reiki engagement and training.
Yeah.
How did you get into this? How did you pick this Reiki as a place to be trained or to be trained in?
So it found me. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't really know about it at the time as well. I was invited to join a meditation group, like a little circle where people get together and just relax. And the person leading this meditation group was a Reiki practitioner.
Okay.
He introduced me and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. You know, he's onto something here. Another way of helping people without just talking to them. And it hooked me. Something within it just attracted me to like, not healing someone. You know, Reiki is not about someone healing another person, but it's about giving access to another person to be able to heal themselves and empower themselves and change themselves. And that's what attracted me.
Yeah, and I'm always fascinated how things and people come together, you know, because I'm a big believer the universe aligns, you know, it always brings things to you for a reason. But yeah, it's always interesting to hear the story.
See, I wasn't looking for it, but found it.
Yeah.
Or it found me.
Okay.
And that really changed, like I said, how I looked at our own patterns and how we interact with the world around us, not just with people, but with our jobs, with ourselves, with our relationships, with how we plan our lives, to then not from a point of trauma and trying to protect yourself, plan your life and live your life, but from a point of growing it, expanding it and living it. So again, very lucky to from that young age be able to have access to these teachings, this mentorship, which a lot of people only get to really much later in their lives. And by then, how much more have you actually, you know, buried down?
So you were like an early adopter of this,
just about, before it was cool.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So before I go into another one, a bit more of the conversation, because this is now I'm going to start going a bit deeper into, you know, how you help others. Tell me about the shirt. I love it. Yeah, I mean, what a great shirt, patterned on the shirt, huh?
Thank you. So this is actually something else that I'm doing. I'm the co-founder of a men's fashion brand.
Really?
And we focus on natural fabrics for a couple of reasons. One, it's biodegradable. So if it ever does end up in a landfill, it will not harm the planet. Yeah. But also wearing natural fabrics is good for your body's vibration. Sure. You know, we emit an electromagnetic field. Right. And when we wear polyesters or other plastic-based fabrics, it kind of isolates our electromagnetic field, and that can cause, in the long term, can cause harm in the body, you know. And wearing stuff on your skin, your skin absorbs. So wearing plastic on your skin all day is not great.
So what's the material?
So this is actually Lotus Silk. So it is fibers from the lotus plant that get spun by hand, and it makes this beautiful soft silk.
I had no idea.
And then the pattern we designed ourselves.
Where do people find this lovely attire of yours, the shirts? Where do they find you?
So 22elemental.com, that's the brand. You can find us online.
Okay.
And we've got a few items as of now.
I'm going to have a look straight after this. I'm going to have a look. I need to pick up a couple of patterned shirts, and I'd love to understand. I'm really into this whole sustainability and that area. So I think it's definitely something I'm going to look into.
Sustainability is the new luxury, right?
100%.
And it's important for the future.
Yeah, very good. Brilliant. It looks great on you.
Thank you.
So look, let's go back to the healthier minds and well-being. Right? So what's happening right now in the world? Because there's so much talk around well-being and the importance of well-being, you know, employee well-being, just personal well-being. In your opinion, what's going on?
Well, the world has always had problems, but I don't think it was always broadcasted at this level. So what's impacting our minds these days is not just what's happening right around us, but it's what's happening in other parts of the world. So I think mentally we absorb a lot more trauma that's not necessarily even our own. And it's, you know, especially living in a country like the UAE, where we have multinational friends, we've got people from all over the world. You know, what happens in their country impacts you because you have such a close relationship. Close to you. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that takes the toll on your own mind eventually. And if you don't know how to separate what's yours and what's theirs, it can put you into a quite dark spot as well.
You know, I never thought of it that way, actually. With such a diverse culture, you're right. Actually taking on other people's countries' challenges and whatever, affects you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Even in the workplace, I mean, we're working with 120 nationalities here in some companies. So how much are you taking on that's not even yours? And you 9 hours a day with your colleagues. How many of those hours do you have with your family? Much less, right?
Sure.
So who's impacting you more, your family or your colleagues?
But then you're taking all of that home.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I think that is what is causing it more. So it's more exposure to other people's stuff as well than we had previously. Yeah. But then also we're in an age of awakening. We're in an age of information. We have access to things now that we would never have heard of. When I started my journey back in the day, almost 20 years ago, I couldn't study online about Reiki. It was taboo. What is this thing?
You had to read books.
Exactly. And to find books on these topics was quite difficult back then, where now, I mean, scroll through Instagram, TikTok, all these things, there's just information upon information, not all of it great information or very accurate or really helpful, but there's a lot of information available to us. And as a human species, we're inquisitive. Yeah. We want to find
But it's like information overload, right? Exactly. Or content overload, but maybe not the right information because you're just consuming a lot of content, right?
So it's about learning then how to separate what's yours, what's other people's, and then to be able to just focus on that.
Reiki, tell me more about this. How does it actually help somebody with creating a better, healthier mind and with their own well-being? How does it work?
So in its essence, Reiki is about mindfulness and about putting yourself back into your body. If you can take mindfulness a bit literal on the word, making your mind full of just one thing, whether that is just being here in this room or focusing on something that you're doing for work, but just having your mind on one single point, put you back into your body. And when you are in your body, you can really execute and focus on what it is that you're trying to achieve. So whether that is a project at work or getting better health-wise, your body can do that. We are an intelligent being. Our body has intelligence far beyond what we even understand. So just putting yourself fully into that can create miracles.
So this is like this whole mind, body, spirit, and like really bringing that to a focal point.
Exactly. It's not about accessing a foreign energy outside of yourself to heal yourself or to help someone else. It is about knowing that we are always connected to a greater source of light and energy, and just being able to really put yourself into that and then harness it and utilize it for whatever it is you need.
Okay.
I was again lucky to find a lineage of Reiki that is very specifically focused on meditation and mindfulness. Reiki split back in the day between Eastern and Western lineage, and the Western lineage went to the USA and got a bit diluted in its traditional practices and was not as focused on self-healing or self-awakening, but more upon serving others as a healing method. But Reiki is a lot more than that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, actually. I didn't realize it was like there's two sort of compartments to it, and
look, it all traces back to the same source, but when the World War happened and the lineage got split, it created some dilution and practices were lost. Doesn't mean that lineage is not pure, or it isn't giving the right thing. It's just the other lineages have different teachings in it, which adds more value to it, I would say, at least for me. So it teaches a lot of meditation techniques to help you be more in your body, more aware of yourself, more aware of your surroundings. And at the end of the day, to me, awareness is key. Being aware of what's happening right now within my mind, within my body, within my surroundings, gives you the opportunity to take a decision and to take your power back because you are aware of what is really happening.
So Rian, a question. So I've come from corporate world, had a huge team. There were obviously, support and assistance that we needed to give to employees. But how would a leader or a person in the workplace who's going through whatever pressures they're going through think that they need Reiki?
So I don't think it's about thinking that they need Reiki, but about realizing that they need support to get back to themselves, to get to know themselves. Pressure puts us into our shadow aspects. It puts us into parts of ourselves that we don't necessarily understand or even like. And a stressful environment can put you into another personality that you start beating down your employees or even your family.
Or yourself.
Or yourself.
Right? Yeah.
But again, by getting awareness you're able to understand when you are stepping into that shadow aspect of yourself, when you're stepping into that hurt, traumatized part of yourself, and being able to pull yourself back and recalibrate, and then that makes you a better leader, because now you're not reacting, you're not being reactive, you're not being reprimanding, you're being understanding to yourself first, and then to the people around you that you are guiding and that you are leading, and that way you can take better decisions together. Imagine an employee that's used to being beaten down by a boss, and then suddenly meets a leader that they can see is human, but and has his struggles, but when the proverbial S hits the fan, doesn't just lose it, but takes a moment to maybe walk out, take a breath, come back, and then
and allows that
together.
person the space to do that, right?
Exactly.
And that's the art of a leader, empower, enable your team and give them the space.
Exactly.
And it's I think today's world is so everyone's working under so much pressure, and that's why part of Healthy Minds Club is to help with that pressure, more preventative as opposed to reactive afterwards, Hence we have, experts like yourself on there to help, as many people as we can help, that I think that's part of the community coming together,
Exactly.
And, so there's a big pressure point right now on sort of well-being, the pressure at work and all of this. How do you see 2026 sort of moving forward, in terms of the space of well-being and the space of healthier minds? What do you see like this year happening?
So the good thing is a lot of awareness is being put onto your mental health now here in the region, which is fantastic. And I think a lot of corporates are adapting and adopting these practices now, which is great. I do think we still have a way to go, whether it be cultural breakthroughs to make here, not necessarily from the UAE culture, but being everything expat, other cultures bring their mentalities into the corporate world as well.
And there's more people coming into the market,
exactly.
right? So,
I think the mindfulness and the awareness needs to take a bit of get a speed up, because the market here is growing so rapidly, and projects that are coming and companies that are opening up. Dubai is a fast moving city, and we need to get mental health onto that same speed and then allow that to slow it down. Not the trajectory, not the progress, not the success to be slowed down, but to get it more aligned with, there's 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 more people coming. How are they going to cope with the pressure of the city coming from a small town in South Africa?
Because them coming in will also add pressure to the existing folks.
Exactly. So if we don't get a larger awakening of quietness, it can become challenging. Traffic has gotten so bad.
We talked about that even in previous conversations, in these podcasts. Traffic just seems to be this thing that's really affecting a lot of people.
It's a pressure point. And because you're in a city that's always rushed, imagine a 10-minute traffic jam, what that does to your mental health. I'm late for my meeting. This is a super important meeting. How do you cope with that? How do you manage yourself in that? And now it's eating your mind. By the time you get to your meeting, you're in a completely different mood.
100%. Yeah.
It ruins everything.
It happened to me a couple of days ago. It's quite interesting. So I was in the taxi. We were late for the meeting. He took the wrong turning. And so that, when you take the wrong junction here, I think sometimes it takes you 20 minutes, 25 minutes to get back.
If you're lucky.
He was more pressured. I was sitting in the back. He says, "Oh, you're going to be late for your meeting." I said, "Don't worry." I said, "It's all good." I've reframed the way I think about these things which are out of my control now. I used to worry about those things. I don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And he was really I said, "Just calm." I said, it's okay. If we're late, we're late. Phone the guy. He said, "I get it. It's Dubai. Most people end up being in meetings late, so don't worry about it." So,
but I think it's also about kind of canceling the culture of clock in, clock out.
Yeah,
that adds a lot of pressure to people. Execs have the luxury of showing up when they want to, but what about the other employees that have that pressure? If I don't reach on time by 9 o'clock, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And where's the understanding? Where's the compassion? Where's that this person has a life outside of this job?
Yeah. And that's really, it's a tough one, isn't it? When people are working in fear, you know, because you're right. They need to have that release. They need to have that sort of, where can I find this support? But without maybe going to my line manager, but where can I get confidential support from someone? And it's in my control. I know I can go here and talk to Rian and have a session on a Reiki session and just clear my head, clear my thoughts, go to the next day and be in a really good place, you know.
And learn some tools and practices to self-manage.
Yeah.
That's very important to me. I always give homework to the people I work with. I see me once and don't see me again for at least a year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want you to see me every week to help you with your problems, because then I'm not doing my job.
But tell me about these practices. Are they mostly one-to-one, or do you do group sessions?
You can do groups as well. I think one-to-one allows for a more personal experience, but group sessions are great, you know, especially when you get a group of people to meditate together or just to sit in silence together. Their fields merge and their energy aligns. So if they do that before strategizing a meeting or before they need to go into a new project, imagine they don't have to say anything. Just
and imagine the clarity
silence.
of thought and the thinking, because right now people go back to back into meetings. Sometimes you got an important pitch or a board meeting or something. They'll go back to back and they go with that cluttered mind into the meeting.
Imagine learning a 2-minute practice that can help you just get out of your mind, back into your body,
Love that.
clear yourself up for the next meeting, and then go in fresh.
Yeah.
Instead of just rushing and having to push things out, push things aside.
I think next time I'm here, I'm going to take you up on that and maybe do a session with you on this to see how I can have a 2-minute thinking space, clarity of mind, you know, clarity of thinking.
And it's really that simple. It can be that simple. You won't get there right away. It's going to take practice, but with consistency and with dedication to yourself, devotion to yourself, you can learn to do those things like this.
Yeah, I love that. Devotion to yourself.
From a huge flare-up of frustration or anger or whatever it may be to calm, level-headed decision-making energy again.
So let me ask you, you had one big message from that whole sort of the calmness, the clarity of thinking, one message for the audience for 2026, because everyone's telling me 2026 is a year of the fire horse, move, you know, and everything's like fast paced. We're already in a fast paced city. What's your message?
Do you really know yourself? And then I challenge you to ask yourself the question, really get to know yourself this year. Because when you truly know yourself, you have power. You give yourself the empowerment to take the right decisions about your health, about your mental health, about the job, the career, the family you don't have yet and want to start. But if you don't know yourself, you can't make the right decisions. And that's why we end up unhappy, because we make decisions based off of a version of ourselves that we think we are. That's
it. And that's why exactly on Healthy Minds Club, we have the tagline underneath more around these about performance, resilience, and happiness. You know, I purposely put the happiness in there because it's so important to find your happy place.
Right? Your happy place, exactly. We create our own happiness. To not look for it outside of ourselves, but within ourselves.
Well, there you go, Rian. Thank you for coming along today to the Wellbeing Majlis podcast. I can't wait to get this conversation out into the marketplace. I think people are going to learn a lot from your experience and your expertise. Thanks for coming along, and hopefully, you know, we'll get a lot of people coming in and talking to you. You can find Rian on healthymindsclub.ae. Find him; he's there. His profile's there, and hopefully, you can do a lot more sessions and help people in the marketplace create better, healthier minds.
Thank you so much for you, and I look forward to meeting all of you as well.
Excellent. Thank you.